Hey guys, my name's John. I'm going to do a very quick review of the PSP E1000. The E1000 is a new version of the PSP that's just been released by Sony in the UK and PAL territories. It is a budget version of the PSP, basically. It costs £90 from GameStation, and for that £90 you get the console itself, a free game, and I picked up a second-hand memory card at the same time as well. Basically, I'm just going to show you the console itself. There we go. It comes in a nice sort of matte black finish. This is unusual. All the PSPs before that, even the PSP Go, came in a sort of glossy black. The matte black finish is really nice. That gives it a sort of very rugged feel. I've got an original PSP here for comparison. This is the PSP 1000. Do not judge me, it is pink. It is my girlfriend's, honestly. But what you can see is the consoles are basically about the same size. The PSP original 1000 is a little bit thicker. It's definitely a little bit heavier, but apart from that, they're very, very similar. The difference in this model, and the reason why it's quite cheap, is they've taken out the Wi-Fi capabilities. So if you like playing ad hoc games, multiplayer and whatnot, then you're out of luck. You can't download system software directly to it, etc. What you need to do is just go on a computer or laptop and basically plug it in via the micro USB and do all the updates and put the games on it and stuff like that from there. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal for me. I just wanted it to put a couple of games on. Some people might like playing FIFA and other multiplayer games with their mates across Wi-Fi, but that doesn't bother me at all. The reason I picked up this console, I was going to get the PSP 3000, but I couldn't find it anywhere. They seem to be basically removing that now from shops. I'm replacing it with this one before the Vita comes out, which isn't a bad idea. Realistically, if you can get this games and memory card for under £100, then you know it's a pretty good deal. That's less than a DS, realistically. And do excuse the Christmas cold and the quality of the recording, which is off my camera phone. Yeah, so apart from that matte black finish, which is really nice, I'll show you around. It's all matte black. Yeah. You've got the D-pad, which I believe, if it ever shows up, here we go. The D-pad is actually a little bit better than the original. I think it's inset slightly more. There's a slight sort of concave area there, which means that it's slightly more responsive for fighting games and whatnot. The little nubbin thing here is a little bit stiffer than the original, but then again, that's probably because the original's a few years old and that's loosened up. The UMD section is here, and you literally just pull it open. It takes basically the whole of the console open, and inside put a game, and it's got a battery there, but the battery is not accessible. You cannot take it out. This is probably Sony's idea of trying to sort any problems with Pandora batteries and whatnot, but realistically I already have good smudge. Yeah, Pro B10 is already installed on the system, so yeah, it's not going to stop you from installing like custom firmware. The new console is fully compatible. Apart from that, you've got the what looks like a touch strip on the bottom of the console itself. It's not a touch strip. What it is just basically a very flimsy piece of plastic covering some buttons. So you press down, you can feel the buttons underneath. But it's not too bad. It adds to the overall aesthetic of the console. It is quite a lot lighter than the original, because of the matte black. It feels quite rugged, which is a nice thing. It's a console that you're going to be taking around, not just keeping on a desk, and so the fact that it's a little bit more able to withstand a couple of little bashes or scratches makes it feel a lot more usable. The other difference is, I suppose, the battery capacity on the original was 1,800, if I remember correctly. I think this is 1,500, although the 2,300 were less than that. The differences being you could replace the battery on those models with one that was slightly more higher capacity, and so you are stuck with this battery. If it runs down, like it will do over a couple of years, then you're not going to be able to replace it. I guess there might be people out there that have already taken the system apart, but it's not overly obvious to me how you would do that yet. The screen is very nice on the new one. It's very bright, very vivid. It doesn't suffer from the sort of screen tearing issues of the PSP 3000, and neither does it suffer from the ghosting issues of the original. The original screen was very, very nice, and the original screen is still better in one particular area, and that is, you know, if you go at an angle, everything is still viewable, whereas on this one, colours do tend to invert when you look at an angle. It's a portable system, you're going to be moving the system around anyway, so it's not a big deal, and the fact that the colours are a lot more vivid, it's easier to see outside. The screen is definitely better on the new one, although I don't know how it compares to the PSP 3000. I've just heard that the 3000 has got some screen tearing issues, which this doesn't have. Oh, God almighty. Anyway, it's only got a mono speaker. That's the other difference. There's one speaker here compared to the two speakers on either side of the screen of the original PSP. It's not a big deal. If you like the music in a game anyway, you're going to be wearing headphones. So, I mean, I can show you now, although off a camera phone it's probably not the best thing in the world, but that's that volume. The volume levels are virtually identical. You obviously don't get quite a nice the stereo separation you get from the original one, which makes the sound feel a lot more rounded. But then again, you are going to be wearing headphones if you like the music. Speaking of headphones, I'll show you some of the outsides of this. There you've got the power on, off and hold next to the headphone jack. The headphone jack doesn't have the extra input from the original, which you can see down here. So if you've got any of the original PlayStation headphones, or PSP headphones even, you're not, the ones with the controls on them, you're not going to be able to use that. The original PSP as well has the infrared port, which this does not have. On top of that, you've got the power output there on the top, micro USB. I believe that's probably for the camera, but I have no idea. To me it just looks like a hole. Power light and the memory stick indicator light, which I can get to show up by doing that. Shoulder buttons are sort of a very nice shiny black, which fit the aesthetics of the console. Apart from that, there's not much difference between the two. Apart from this one is a lot cheaper. If you can pick up a PSP 3000, then, you know, for the same price, then by all means do it. But for me, this feels a lot more rugged. I just want it for games. It's cheap, and it was cheap new. It's not like I'm getting it second hand either, which is pretty good for me. I do like getting shiny new consoles, even though this is matte. I don't know why I'm saying shiny and new, but still. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, if you haven't had a PSP before, it's probably a really good time to pick one up. It's coming to the end of its life now, and with the Vita coming out, you know, you've got some fantastic games like Lumines 2, Gran Turismo Portable, God of War, things like that, Wipeout. Some really, really good games, and it's a great little portable system as well. So even though the resolution of the screen is never going to match something like an iPhone 4, it's still really good for videos and whatnot because the screen's quite big. But yeah, that was my comparison and mini review of the E1000. If you've got any questions, do write them on the page, and I'll surely respond. I shall be keeping up to date. But yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.